Yeah, so talking about an African value system and versus colonization, who takes the blame? Now, I've heard a lot of write-ups, a lot of responses telling us that if you're to blame for the success of Africa, for the failure of Africa, that you should blame colonial masters, or you should blame it on colonization, right? But let me ask you, I know that the colonial masters are no more in place right now. And I also know that, yes, there are systems that are put up that may seem like trying to weigh down maybe the colonizers, right? As people that have been colonized, isn't it? Yeah, some of you made mention of a lot of points, so to say, that makes it possible why Africa is not able to rear up her head. Maybe countries in the third world are not able to spring up fast. They said it's because of this, it's because of that, that the system itself was meant to keep them there. I beg to differ. Your system is meant to keep you there. Is that why you're going to choose leaders that are also going to keep you there? Listen to me. I believe in when the head is okay, the body will also be okay. You have leaders. A leader, who is a leader? A leader is somebody you've chosen as somebody that will represent you at the helm of affairs. And we have unions, we have African Union, I mean, to come together to ensure that they bring out plan and policies that will favor the growth of Africa. So the question is, if you know that you're going to get, that you want Africa to progress, then why not choose good leaders? Why are you choosing to treat leadership as a trivial matter? I mean, you're giving your house literally to a thief with a key. I'm not saying that they're thieves or anybody. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that if you hand over your key to somebody that's going to sweep your house, but you know that this person going to sweep my house, that he's going to take with him a lot of things, and you're still giving him that key, what are you expecting to get in return? I mean, if you look at European countries, you look at several of these progressive countries in the first world countries, you find out that the very key factor for their growth was what? Was leadership. It all began with leadership. Certain people came together to make certain decisions that influenced the country. China, example. There was a time in China when there was high rate of corruption. People were just wicked. They just did whatever they want in those empires. Certain people again rose up to say, we are tired of these things. And it's so bad that people only do these things only when they are at critical points. Talking about Africa, I know there are many other places where we've experienced these things, but only when people have been touched, only when they are affected, only when they are suffering, that's when they wake up from their sleep and slumber to say, we demand that this is done. We demand it, and that's when they stamp their foot. You remember some time ago talking about the um, Arab Spring and what have you. You remember also when certain African countries had to stand up to say, our leaders, you're not doing well, please step down. We want fresh leadership. We want good leadership. You know, they demanded for it. It's unfortunate that these things only happen when it's at a critical point. And some of us were very quick to say, yes, the reason is still the truth. You know, there will be always excuses. There will be always excuses. Look at a country like Nigeria, for example. Corruption is part of the system. Corruption is part and parcel of the fabric of the way the country is run. So even if you have a good leader that wants to correct things, he or she cannot do it in 8 years. Believe me, some people think that if you elect a very good leader like Peter Obi, that he's going to change the country overnight. I don't think so. Corruption is part of the fabric of the country. He has to, it has to go through sequence of steps. He has to go through a lot of steps. In fact, he's not even able to do it. Before you see a sizable change in the economy, in the life, in the inflation rate and everything, it will take time. It may not end with him. Somebody, he has to pass the baton. Even if he wins, he has to contribute his quota and then pass the baton to somebody else that is also having good intention for the country. That is where you talk of patriotism, you talk of people that are born patriots. Like, these are people that want to develop the country. And I tell us that the people are also contributing factors to the problem of the country and of the Africa. I mean, why should you elect wrong people into power and you come out to cheer them? You're giving them a support. You're trusting them with your life, with your destiny, with the affairs of your country. And you know they're not doing well. And you still come out to give them cheer, to support them. They are passing, you're waving flag. You're celebrating with them. What are you doing? You're not holding them accountable. And later on, you come out and you say, yeah, the colonial masters, they didn't do their job well. How about the leaders you're voting? Are they doing their job well? Are they doing their job well when they embezzle your funds and open up bank accounts, foreign bank accounts all over the country? Are they doing their job well when they're sending their kids abroad, where they're destroying the educational system of your country without putting up enough budgeting that is going to ensure that the country grows? Are they doing their job well? All they have to do to keep the country in poverty is just to ensure that the middle class is well supported. Are they doing their job well? I know a lot of things can be said about this. A lot of people can try to take maybe put the blame on colonizers, but I want you to look at that the head is faulty. If the head is faulty, the whole body will be faulty, right? I'm not saying that these systems you've mentioned are not there. They are there, right? I'm not saying that there are no oppressions all around. They are all there. But look at it. You've been given a key to your house. You have the key to your house, but you're still blaming another person for what's happening in your house. I mean, look at Africa. We've not had a whole lot of good leaders. Very, very few percentage. Men like Nelson Mandela, who are fantastic. Very, very, very few. If you look through the history of Africa, you'll find out that these are few men that have really stood up. Yes, somebody mentioned Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, and what have you. Yes, I know that. I know. But look at, if you were to compare it with contemporaries from Europe, let's say, for example, using the nation of America as an example, as a case study, series of good decisions that were made were key and subject to good leaders who even gave their lives for the country, for the better good of the country. How many of your African leaders can forgo selfish reasons and ambition to ensure that they take decisions that will positively impact the country? I saw, for example, Nigeria. I still say it that we've not had a good leader that you can respect so much as Goodluck Jonathan and President Musa Yar'Adua. And of course, you can mention Olusegun Obasanjo. These are men that have really contributed positively. I mean, I looked at Goodluck Jonathan and I'm like, wow, this is a very, very wonderful leader. Somebody that does not care about his political ambition, rather, excuse me. for his political ambition. He said, my political ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. That kind of leader. Those kind of leaders that are not so selfish. You can relinquish office without a blink of an eye. How many people can do that? How many? They are very, very few in Africa. I mean, you just don't get such kind of leaders. And you're very quick to keep pointing fingers on the colonial masters. When you've had bad leaders, how wouldn't you blame colonial masters? Of course, you keep blaming them. But they are not to be blamed. Blame having the wrong people that need to occupy certain offices. Blame having people that are so selfish. They want to embezzle for their generation yet unborn from national resources that should be going around the country. Nigeria is sixth in the country of Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Sixth. In those countries that are sixth, show me the countries that are first five that are poor. And I'll show you a country that is full and embedded with corruption. These things ought not even to be said. They ought not to be said. This is a pure lapse in administrative capacity. So before you blame anybody, just look inside and see what's happening.